Hey guys, this is XB here, and I am making this video because I wanted to address why I haven't been making videos on this channel for some time. And I'm going to tell you a little story about what's been going on with me in the past 30 days, 60 days. I don't know how long it's been now. It's been a couple months for me. Anyway, about, let's say a little over a month ago, I had what I can only classify as a panic attack, which was weird because generally, if anyone knows me in person, I'm a really mellow person. I'm not really stressed out about anything. I mean, life is stressful, but I don't really freak out. I'm not quick to jump to I'm not quick to jump to mental issues. If I'm upset, then I take a day off, I calm down, things get better. But this kind of came out of left field. I was traveling to Grand Rapids. I've been doing a lot of workout in Grand Rapids for my day job. And sorry, my voice is going because I just woke up. I've been going out to Grand Rapids, Michigan for my day job. I live in Nevada, so I fly out there. It's a big, long trip. Anyway, I was sitting there playing a game called War of Rights. I've got a couple of videos on this channel for it. I love that game, and I really love the community. I was having a lot of fun, just playing, enjoying myself, and then all of a sudden, it was like this just wave hit me, and my heart started beating I probably just hit my mic. My heart started beating really, really fast. It's hard to explain it. It felt like I was having a heart attack, to be honest with you. And I thought, oh my God, I'm having a heart attack. I'm dying. And I'm in a hotel room by myself playing a video game and I'm dying. And crap, what am I going to do? If I die here, no one's going to even notice for like a week. And no one's going to come and check on me until my stay expires. I better get out of here. So I turned off the computer really quick. I put on my socks and shoes and I ran downstairs and I went and sat at the hotel bar because I figured, well, if I am having a heart attack and I fall off this bar stool, at least someone's going to see me and they're going to call the ambulance and maybe I'll live. But if I die in this hotel room, I'm going to be stinking by the time they find me. So I'm sitting down there in the bar for an hour just trying to calm down and trying to figure out what in the heck is going on because my heart is just beating out of my chest. It's beating really fast. And I was just freaking out. And there was a lot of chest pain too. That's the part where I thought I was having a heart attack. Well, I made it through the day and nothing was happening. I was checking my pulse. My pulse seemed somewhat okay. So I'm like, okay, if this was a heart attack, I think it would be a sharper pain. It wouldn't be just this dull tightness in my chest. So I did a lot of research on the internet, like we all do when we get sick, and found out it was probably a panic attack. And the main part of getting through a panic attack, because you'll always get through it, you don't die from panic attacks, is convincing yourself that you're not having a heart attack, because it causes fear. I mean, any of you think you're having a heart attack, you're going to be afraid. You're going to freak out and think, crap, I'm dying. Is this it? So I kept trying to just convince myself, all right, you're not having a heart attack. You're just having a panic attack. I don't know why you're having a panic attack, but that's what's going on. So I basically had to work the whole week there in Grand Rapids feeling like this all day long, every day, feeling like I was dying. And man, it was a rough week. It was a really rough week. And on my flight home, we went through a ton of weather, and I'm not afraid of flying or anything. I enjoy it. But, man, that plane was going all over the place, which certainly wasn't helping my condition. I get home, and I start to calm down a little bit, and I told myself, well, that's probably because I'm home now. I'm calmed down because I'm in my environment, and I'm comfortable again, so everything's going to be okay. And then and one night later after I got home, I was at a party, a friend's Hanukkah party, because he's a Jewish guy. He celebrates Hanukkah instead of Christmas, which is cool because then I get to celebrate two different holidays, which I'm totally cool with. And anyway, another panic attack hits me, and this one is even worse. And again, I wasn't doing anything stressful. I was just sitting around playing board games with a bunch of people who were there. And another wave hits me. This time I can't even stand up. I can't move. I'm practically paralyzed just sitting there knowing that if I get up, I'm going to pass out. And I'm like, what in the heck is going on? Why am I having these? I'm not stressed out, or at least I didn't think I was. So this time I called my wife up to come get me, and she took me to the ER because this was enough to where I was afraid something was really, really wrong. I went to the emergency room. Thankfully, it's a brand new one they built here in Las Vegas that is so new, literally nobody was there. I was the only patient in this entire emergency room, which was a cool experience, going to an ER by yourself. And they gave me an EKG. That's where they hook up a bunch of wires to you and make sure your heart is beating in all the right, and make sure the blood is going through all the right blood vessels and there's no blockage. They did a blood test, a urine test. They did all that stuff to make sure that I wasn't on the brink of death. And on the bright side, I got to see my blood work, which I haven't seen in a long time. I was curious, am I really unhealthy aside from obviously I'm fat? But turns out I have a good blood sugar and everything else. My blood works great. And that was cool. So all the other tests turned out negative, not positive, turned out negative. I don't have any heart conditions as far as they could tell. And they released me. When they did that, it was sort of like a way for me to confirm with myself that, okay, nothing's wrong with my heart. This is very much a mental thing. Once that had happened, everything started to change. My heartbeat started to be less and less, not heartbeat. I had less and less panic attacks. I had longer spans during the day without this panic attack stuff cropping up until eventually, I'd say about a week and a half ago, they stopped and they haven't come back, which is great news for me. I know you probably don't care, but for me, this is great news because let me tell you, panic attacks, they do not feel good. They're basically that feeling right before someone comes and shoots you in the head where your body just rushes you full of adrenaline and says, crap, man, you got to either run or kill this guy. And except there's no enemy in front of you and there's nowhere to run. So instead, all of this adrenaline is just flowing through your system and it's got nowhere to go. So it's poisoning you. It's toxic to your body. And that's why you feel like you're dying, because you feel like you need to do something, but you don't know what to do. So instead, it just sort of simmers away in your body and it has to go away naturally. So I said all that to say this. After I had this panic attack, the first time, back when I was still in Grand Rapids, I thought to myself, okay, this is brought on by some form of stress that I'm not addressing in my life. What is this form of stress? What is causing this? Because for me, and maybe it's different for you, but for me, stuff like this happens when I allow stress to build up over months and months and months. I don't just release stress every day when I'm having a hard day. I just kind of put it away and tell myself I'll deal with it later. Well, I did this for years. As many of you know, many of you maybe are from the Gorgonites, the group that I ran. I loved running communities in games. That was one of my favorite things to do, and it still is. It always will be. I'm never going to get away from the social aspect of games. I just love them. But it had become a major stress point for me. Not because it was difficult, not because I spent a ton of time trying to deal with people. In fact, people kind of did their own thing in the Gorgonites. But because I was trying to be both a father and a husband and be a full-time worker who was good at my job and not just skating by, at the same time as going and meeting up with friends online and playing with them pretty much every night, meeting people for drills on a War of Rights. And I had a lot of commitments on the computer to the point where I was on the computer so much, but I was trying to appear to be a full-time father and a full-time husband that eventually my body says, dude, you can't do all this stuff at once. You got to drop something. And because I said no, my body eventually punished me for it. So when this whole panic attack happened, I told myself, all right, it's time to cut out something that is not necessary because you're obviously stretching yourself too thin. So I chose PC gaming. Now, I'm not giving up computer gaming completely forever. I had to do this back in 2012. Almost the same exact thing happened, except without the panic attacks. Thankfully, I realized it before the panic attacks came. But back in 2012, I left gaming completely because I had dug myself too deep and I had put gaming ahead of my family. And this was back when my wife was pregnant. And so I knew I had a family coming, and I knew I had to reassess how I was living my life. So anyway, I had to drop gaming. I've been playing some games on the Nintendo Switch. I'm not really a console gamer. So I'll never, and I don't think I'll ever be a console gamer. I stopped hardcore console gaming when I was, actually, I don't know if I ever really started hardcore console gaming, to be honest with you. I was pretty into it when I was in high school, maybe like ninth grade, but after that I kind of stopped at the Xbox 360, and we've always owned a next-gen console in our house, and I play it sometimes at night, but never was my thing. I've always loved PC games because I'm a huge strategy gamer. So anyway, that's that, and I will be back to games eventually when I feel like I can control myself. Addiction is not just about drugs. It's not just about alcohol. I've never had a drug addiction problem, never had an alcohol addiction problem. In fact, I've hardly drank alcohol in my entire life, and those things just never appealed to me. I was never interested. For me, my body is really good at making its own addictions, mentally speaking. For me, it was games. I love computer games. I love community. I love strategy games. I just love computer games in general. And I paid the price for it because I couldn't control myself, and I put games ahead of my family. So I'm glad I quit games in the sense that now things are back in order. My marriage is very good now. It was never bad, but it wasn't great. I wasn't giving my wife the attention she needed. And everything's going really good there. I have taken up some new hobbies. First of all, I'm back to writing. Those of you who know that I'm a writer, I had written book 1 of my series Ruin, and it was on Amazon, but I wanted to put it in print, but I was putting that off because I was too busy playing games or just trying to manage my family life. Well, I have come back to that. I've got a copy editor now who's editing the book in preparation for print because it's in ebook form, but it's not printed. And if it's going to go to print, I got to make sure virtually every grammatical error, every continuity error, anything in there that's wrong is fixed because I can't change it once it's printed. So it'll be in print in the next couple months, which is exciting. And my current editor, he's catching all kinds of cool stuff that I never knew I messed up, which is really neat. And let's see, aside from that, I've been board gaming a lot. I'm always going to be a gamer, you see, no matter what. I just love games. And I've been playing a lot of board games with my wife every night. Thankfully, she loves board games too, so we've got quite the collection going in our house now. Maybe I'll put it up on this video, I don't know. And I've actually been working on a board game with my friend who's a huge board gamer as well and actually has a couple of his own board game ideas. I've been working on one with him to put together based on the Ruin universe. And that is going really well. We have a pretty solid rule system, and when he gets back from his business trip next week, we're going to game it out a bit and see how that works out and see if it plays well. And if it does play well, I already have my cartographer who built the original map for Ruin. He's excited to do this. He's excited to make the game board. So he's on board, and that'll take 2 or 3 months for him to make the board because it's all going to be custom made. There's nothing copy pasted about it. It's all going to be hand done. And it's my hopes to game out this board game and get it released sometime this year, and to get book 2 of my book series released also this year. I'm on the last 2 chapters of book 1 for my self-edits. I'm going through and just changing little things slightly so that they flow a little better. So that's going to be done in the next couple weeks, and I'll be working on book 2 after that, which is already halfway done. I sort of stopped midway when my gaming addiction became too much of a focus of my life. So there you have it, guys. I am sort of back. I will be playing some games for the purpose of reviewing them, especially my retro reviews. I actually have one coming up in the next day or 2. I interviewed the mod designer for the Mech Commander Gold Darkest Hours expansion for Mech Commander Gold, which if you go back, you can look at my retro reviews for Mech Commander Gold. I really love that game. I grew up with that game. It's one of my favorite games of all time. And this guy has been basically modding the game into an entire new version of itself practically, which is really cool. Anyway, I did a little interview with him. He's not a native English speaker, so the interview was text only. So I'm going to do my best to read my questions and his answers in proper English. And yeah, I look forward to the next video, guys. And there's my updates. So if you were curious what the heck is going on with me, I hope that answers your question.